the booklet on page 62. So this, for those that are new to our class, this is our class does 4 things every day. We do the daily portion, the daily schedule portion of the daily Tanya, which is a book on Hasidism and Kabbalah that was published in 1797. It's a classic, a lot of foundational ideas. We do a bit every day. We finish every year. And we do some Chumash, the daily Parsha, with Rashi, the commentator from the 11th century, who explains the basic meaning. And we do 1 Aliyah a day, and that way we finish it every week. We finish the Parsha in moderate depth. Then we do a Dvar Torah, Parsha Insight, for a few minutes, and then we do a daily mitzvah from the Book of Mitzvahs of the Rambam. Okay, we start with Tanya on page 62.
Rabbi.
Yes.
I don't know if it's appropriate for today or what, but I think you probably heard about the Alter Rabbi's, the burning of his house.
Oh, I did. I saw that. Yeah, wow. What happened?
What happened?
There was a massive fire in it.
Hadich, in his the house or whatever, the welcome center, I guess. I'm guessing synagogue.
Where?
Hadich, where he's buried in Kazakhstan.
You mean with the Alter Rebbe? Yeah, I read that. Yeah, there was a massive fire. Yes.
Okay, but we got to go because we have to finish on time today, and we got stuff to do. So we are doing Epistle 5, which means communal letter number 5. This is from the Alter Rebbe, means the old rabbi. It refers to the Rabbi Shner Zalman of Liadi, who was the founder of Chabad movement in the late 1700s, wrote this book where he explains deep Kabbalistic ideas in a more understandable way to the human experience. So it starts with a verse from the prophets, Vayas David Shem. It says, David made a name. What does it mean that King David made a name? So the different commentators explain either he showed goodwill by burying the dead of his enemies, which was a very magnanimous thing to do, or some say that he was heroism in war. That's the simple meaning of the verse in the prophets. Page 62 in the bottom.
Oh,
you want to sit over there so I can face you?
Yeah. Sorry.
So King David
he made a name for himself.
He buried the enemy name?
That's what it says.
Whoa.
Okay. The Holy Zohar, next page 63, relates the above phrase to the verse, and David executed justice and tzedakah with all his people. What does that mean? So I'm not sure what that's talking about, but basically he made a name. He made the divine name. What does it mean? He made the divine name. How's it done? All right. Well, no. I'm being recorded now, so I can't. Rabbi Shimon cried and he said, "Man Shma Kadisha b'chol yema man diad masal miskei." So this, what does it mean? So now we're going. What does the Zohar say? What does it mean to make God's name? To embody God's name. You know what it means to embody God's name? By giving charity to the poor.
Wow.
We have questions now. How do you make God's name? How does a person embody God's name? What does that mean? So we quoted just the sources, but what does it mean? And also, why? Let's say you could make God's name. Why is charity out of all the mitzvahs do that? So to understand this, we're going to have to continue. This may be understood in the light of the comment of our sages of blessed memory on the verse. For the divine name, we know the main name in the Torah, the 7 names of God that's used for God in the Torah. The main name, the most essential name, is the Shem. Yes, the Shem, Havaya, Yud, and the Hey, and the Vav, and the Hey, which we don't pronounce because it's so holy. The 4-letter name of God, the Yud, and the Hey, and the Vav, and the Hey, that's the most essential name. Mm-hmm. In the Gemara, in the Talmud, it says that in the Yud and the Hey, God I'm sorry, it says in Tehillim that with the first two letters, God is the rock of the worlds. What does it mean he's the rock of the worlds? What does it mean the Yud and the Hey create souls? You know what it means? It means the Yud and the Hey, these two letters, whatever mystical meaning they have, the Yud is how you create the physical world, Olam Hazeh, this physical world. So of all the, it says the letters are energies to create. So the Yud created this world. I'm sorry, the Hey created this world, the physical world, and the Yud creates the spiritual world, the world to come.
Wow.
Heaven, let's say, right? The Garden of Eden, as we call it. What does that mean? This means that the delight which the souls of the righteous experience as they enjoy the splendor of the Shekhinah, which radiates in the upper and lower gardens of Eden, consists of their pleasure and their apprehension and conception. The pleasure that the souls of the righteous that they enjoy in the when a person passes away, their soul, it says, basks in the rays of the Shekhinah, of God's presence.
Wow.
Heaven in Hebrew, one of the terms is called Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, referring to the afterlife. And there's a lower world and a lower level and a higher level, whatever it is. And what does it mean that in heaven, Shemaim. What does it mean that their pleasure? I mean, they bask in the rays. What does it mean? They're suntanning. The souls are suntanning. What does it mean? It means that they are understanding bits of the infinite light. That's great pleasure. When you understand something, it's a great pleasure. So imagine understanding God or a little fragment of God, a little ray of God. That's great pleasure.
Amen.
For they conceive with the faculty of Chachma, and they know and understand with the faculty of Bina, which is on page 64, page 64 now. So this is for those that are relatively new in the class, we know that there's three modes of understanding, and actually Chabad is an acronym for all three. Chachma means the flash, the eureka moment, where you have the flash of insight. You don't really get all the details though. You have to really unpack the details. Unpacking the details to understand is called Bina. Bina means knowing. There's basically conceiving an idea, and there's knowing it. There's fleshing it out. And then there's Das, which is Das would be, I guess, more knowing, more like personal relevance of the idea. Okay. Anyways, for these souls, they have all these three modes of understanding of some degree of apprehension of the light and vitality which effuses there, which is, God is always flowing life into every reality. And because God is doing that, because he is doing that, because he's doing that, every soul can understand and attain some perception according to his level and his deeds. This is why in the so basically what you do in your life is meriting more. You don't see it right now, but when the person goes on after they finish their mission in this world, they are able to, based on their deeds of good, of mitzvahs and doing good over not choosing bad, they are able to appreciate on some level more of the light of God. This is why in the Zohar, which is the Kabbalistic book, it says the world to come is referred to as Bina, understanding. World to come, afterlife, Garden of Eden is all the same thing. It's all about Bina. It's all about knowledge. If you're wondering what the soul does after life, it's not that it sits on a cloud and plays a harp with a white toga and a halo, contrary to cultural depiction. That's not what it does. There's no physical image of the soul. It's a spiritual entity, but it is an entity, and the entity is rewarded with understanding God's rays. Because that really got you, huh? That's really okay. So that each and every one can understand and attain some perception according to his love and deeds. Oh, I said it right. Okay, this flow, again, the flow, the rays, the revelation of God is issuing from the plane of supernal chachma. Okay, what's supernal chachma? So chachma is the first, the eureka, the beginning of the insight, which is the source of the conception apprehension known as bina. Okay, so chachma, this is a bit confusing. Number 4. Chachma, typically we say, is the flash of knowledge, the eureka. Then the bina is the unpacking, the comprehension, and das is more the applying it to personally and finding it personally, emotionally meaningful. Yeah. So the thing is like this. There's also another term. Chachma can refer to the eureka flash. It can also refer to even beyond that, kind of the murky source of the knowledge, where it's like not the subconscious or not the subconscious, like beyond any type of visible consciousness. I guess we call it subconscious for lack of a better word. So,
Why did you?
Not too bad. Okay, so
That's called the supernal.
supernal, the primordial, the chachma. So there's chachma as in the flash, it's the beginning of the comprehension.
Right.
Then there's even a chachma, a wisdom that's called the primordial stage of the intellect. Before apprehension, understanding becomes manifest. Rather, chachma at this stage is still in a state of obscurity and concealment. It says in the note, that's where I got the note says there's an external level of chachma, which is the germ of intellect, the eureka moment. And then there's the before that, where it's not even you're unaware of. It's like probably the I don't know, because in the Steinsaltz he doesn't even go in that
Arena.
Yeah, that way. I think he's missing something here, according to here. I don't know. I have to read it further. Whatever.
Rabbi,
the case is,
Rabbi, subconscious was exactly what you were looking for in just a few minutes ago, because at least in one definition, it's of or concerning the part of the mind of which one is not fully aware, but which influences one's actions and feelings.
Right. Okay. I'm just wondering why in the Steinsaltz he doesn't go in that vein, but because there's chachma the way we typically use it, which is the eureka moment. Then there's the primordial stage, the subconscious, where the wisdom is coming from. Anyways, chachma is the primordial stage before you get on the understanding and on the comprehension. It became manifest. And this is still concealed. Continue on page 65. Except for some minuscule measure that here and there flows forth and issues from it to the faculty of bina. So this term, ma'at mizer, which means a minuscule measure. So it's slang. It's taken from Isaiah 28:10, but it's used in Chassidus as slang for a bit here, a bit there. Ma'at mizer. They say
should be Bissell.
Abyssal, yeah, I guess so. So what this is inferring that in order for you to have a eureka moment where it comes to the subconscious, there is two modes of tzimtzum, of constriction. One implication is that I'm just reading from the Steinsaltz. is that the constriction is not a simple, straightforward devolvement from flash to idea. Rather, it's a complex process that cannot be traced directly to origin. It cannot be grasped by the faculty of Bina.
Whoa.
So when you're getting awareness of a new idea, that's after a tremendous constriction where you don't even realize where it came from in the more earlier level, the subconscious. Furthermore, the constriction and sculpting of the light of Chachma does not distort or change it, but it preserves in the same relative perfection as the concealment. So it's interesting. It's almost like it's hiding it, and it's also revealing somewhat of the original structure. I don't know what that means exactly, but
Yitzi,
whatever.
we can't. I can't see you. I just get this Chabad
Oh,
sticker.
yeah, I don't know why. It's very sometimes in the middle of the class, it just goes from one to the other.
Oh, okay, it's fine now.
All right, so and that double constriction makes it possible for a soul to understand and apprehend the concept which is intrinsically concealed. So this is actually an idea of where God is inherently mysterious to anybody, anything, even a soul, even to an angel. Any depiction of God is really is an intentional, tapered flow meant for the recipient, because God's not limited to that. You never objectively can see God. God's only going to give you some sort of subjective depiction, depending on your level. If you're an angel or a soul, like it's different, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why in the Zohar, Chachma is referred to, a famous line, Nekuda behechala. It's a term in Kabbalah, the dot in the palace. The Zohar says Bina is the palace, and Chachma is the point in the palace. I guess it's like the throne room, the control room.
But
Chachma
a dot in the palace is tiny, you can't really see it.
Maybe it means the center, the core of the palace, meaning it's a pure point on any dimension. It's a dot. It's a center, but it's the tiny center. It's the most like. So Chacham, to realize, is basically Chacham is really it's a bridge. When you say Chacham, it's the eureka moment, but it's actually a bridge. What's the eureka moment? You have a flash of insight. It's coming from a much more subconscious place where the idea is murky in you, which is beyond visible comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
So the eureka flash is the nexus between it's the nexus between the murky subconscious, for lack of a better word, and a specific idea. Interesting. Okay. Now getting back, so we got a little bit of an idea of Chachma and Bina.
Mm-hmm.
There's really three levels. There's the primordial Chachma, there's the flash of wisdom Chachma, and there's Bina, the comprehension and unpacking. So now we get back to the name of God. There's a Yud and a Hey for starters. Yud and a Hey could be its own name of God, or it's part of the four-letter name Yud, Hey, and Vav, Hey. So this is the Yud. A Yud we know is the smallest letter. It's actually almost like a dot. Oh, now we know why, because the Chachma is a dot. Specifically, it's a dot. It's a nexus point.
Eureka.
Right
now.
Yeah. And it's also called, AKA, Eden. Garden of Eden is that dot.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know about the Eden, there's the Garden of Eden, and then there's Eden. Eden is actually, you typically say it together, the Garden of Eden, but really in the verses, when the prophets talk about Eden is one place, and the garden is kind of like a lower level. And there's a river that goes from Eden to water the garden, which is all metaphor for Eden is this place that no eye can ever see. Again, it represents the murky, whether the person is the subconscious, or God, it's the unknowable aspects of God, where everything comes from. It's not a subjective, it's not a depiction, it's not a particular depiction of God. It's the more unknowable, essential part of God. That's Eden. That's Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Place of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Okay.
Wow.
So I didn't see. Okay. V'nikra Abba Yasod Brata. No, another, as I said last year, just for the disclaimer, as I said, us, fragmented half-wits of the 21st century, we have no business learning, Kabbalistic, 18th century Kabbalistic, writings. But the Rebbe said we have to do it anyway, so we do our best. And along the way, we learn terms. We're reading the book and learning the dictionary at the same time. So a term we have here is that Abba Yasad Brata, that it says in Kabbalah, a father who founded the daughter. What's that a symbol of? The father represents Chachma, that's the flash of the whole process. And the daughter, what's a daughter? Daughter is, if you know the 10 sirot, which is the 10 energies, the last one is called Malchut, leadership or sovereignty. Ultimately, the lowest level of the 10 sfirot is rooted in the first of them, which is like, what does it mean practically? She's going to show about a lot of what Hasidus does. I want to point out, and I'm learning the dictionary, the glossary of terms as we do this as also. Hasidus takes Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is like code. It's symbolism. It's code. It's like physics almost. It's not something that's it's very abstract. And they uses terms like, hey, it's like nice. The father, the daughter, and the father founds the daughter, the dot in the palace. It's like, it sounds like, it sounds like a mystery book. Chassidus, and it is, by the way, it is very enigmatic. However, what Chassidus does is that it shows a lot of these ideas within the human experience. Because after all, human being is created in the image of God. So if Kabbalah talks about God, whatever, in different coded levels with different terms, and so if you have the knowledge, you can map it out in the parallel in the human being. So that's why we go back and we talk about God and we talk about the human being. Because in a way, the human being's psyche is in the image of God. Okay. This means, so now we're going to explain this Kabbalistic term of the father founding the daughter in the human being. So we know the way we depict, at least the way God relates to the world, is via the 10 sfirot, which is, I'm not going to get into them, but there's the first three is the Chabad, and then the last one is Malchut. It's basically intellect and emotions, and speech/action. That's like the way it is in the human being. And God, it's the wisdom, the emotion, and then the speech. So Malchut, sovereignty, leadership, is where God then creates the world from that level. Because speech is leadership. Speech is, I know something, I communicate it, I command, I communicate, I teach. That's leadership. That's kingship. Okay, here's the cool thing we learned today. The formation of the letters of speech, which proceed from the 5 organs of articulation, is not an intellectual process. You think about speech, is a mystery of speech. The mystery of speech is there's 2 mechanisms in speech. One is the thought behind the content, like the light of the concepts you want to convey, and the other is the whatever wisdom part of the brain is activating the medium, right? The parts of the mouth to make sounds. So one is there's an idea, which is very a person has an idea without you can have an idea in a very even just pictures, right? But then you want to convey it has to go through. It needs tools to convey it to the other person. Mm-hmm. Letters, language. That's a different part of the brain. So that part of the brain, surprisingly, you'd think, what is higher in the internal process to speak? What's more sublime, the idea or the physical way you make your mouth move? Yeah.
No. It's just interesting. I'm sorry.
You're just visually.
No, it's good.
So it sounds like the idea is more sublime, and therefore it's rooted in a deeper place of your psyche, of your mind. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, the letters, the ability that you naturally, you eventually learn how to manipulate the mouth to make the lips, and then to make a guttural and a throat and a palate sounds. That's actually rooted higher than the idea. This means the formation of the letters of speech, which proceed from the 5 organs of articulation, the mouth, the throat, all the parts you You move your mouth to make sounds, the teeth. It's not intellectual. It's not what we call intellectual. It's also not inherent in the nature of these organs. They must pronounce letters by means of the breath and the sound that strikes them, by either a natural faculty or by an intellectual faculty. With the lips, for example, we say the bet, the vav, mem, and pei. These are lip, b, b, b. Pei, mem. These are lip letters. Neither nature nor intellect compels the utterance of the four varying types of pronunciation of these letters in accordance with variations in the movements of the lips. It's not like you have to, you're just like dying to go buh, okay? Which are moved by the same breath and the same sound that strikes them equally. So if you go a bet and a vav, it's both lip letters. Why do you do one? Why do you can so finesse with such finesse go b and v? How did it happen? You would think that would take tremendous focus to do a bet and a vet, but you do it naturally. Why? On the contrary, the change in the movements of the lips depends on the difference in pronunciation of the letters the soul wishes to utter by means of the lips. When it desires to say bet or mem or vav or mem or pei, instinctively the lips will move. It's not the other way around, that it is the will and intention of the soul to make a change in the motions of the lips for the moving now and the utterance of these four letters as they're moving out. It's empirically evident the soul does not intend or know how to change. It's not trying to change a bet from a vet or a vav in the motions of the lips which articulate those distinctions between various letters. This is even more striking by vowels. The fact that you can go so subtly from one, slight change and change, and do your will to say a bet or a vet or a kamatz or a patach, right? Like there's such slight variation that you do it so instinctively. Like by a kamatz, the lips spontaneously becomes compressed, and with the patach vowel, the lips open, and not at all because of the will of the soul to compress or open them. There's no need to go any further into a matter which is simple, comprehensible, and intelligible to every intelligent person. Namely, that the pronunciation of the letters and vowels transcends the apprehended and comprehended intellect, but rather derives from the hidden intellect in the primordial stage of the intellect. So this is the cool thing. The letters, the articulation is coming actually from a pre-verbal intellect, like a subconscious, the primordial intellect. That is why an infant can not speak, even though it understands everything. For speech does not come from the revealed intellect, which even a baby has, the awareness part of the intellect, but it comes from a more rarefied hidden intellect, which has yet to be developed, to have access to. Takeaway. Okay, this is very long. In the Garden of Eden, there is a revelation of God, not merely a revelation, but an understanding, appreciation for Him. That's what it means the soul's bask in God's rays. It means you understand, glimmers of God. However, the revelation, appreciation corresponds to the good deeds you do in this world. And we're saying, I don't know why that's the main point, but we talked about how there's speech versus an understanding. Okay.
What did you say about this world? You said Hashem. We understand godliness in Eden, but what did you say in this?
Right, so let's just I'm not sure. I think today we're setting ourselves up for tomorrow. We'll get more to the point.
Okay, fine.
Well, here's the glossary of terms we learned today. We learn Garden of Eden. Eden represents the primordial intellect, where it's beyond any type of awareness. Right. Then there's Chachma, the flash, the eureka. That is the nexus point of something murky and subconscious to then be an aspect revealed. It's in a very, eureka concentrate originally. Then there's Bina. Bina is the unpacking. The souls in after the person passes away the souls get to appreciate, they have bina, they comprehend glimmers of the intellect. But that we know those glimmers come from an even more murky place, a more subconscious, super, beyond comprehension place. That's all we learned today, and it's setting ourselves up for the